Hey guys, Donut here and welcome to my channel. So Battlefield Hardline is going to be released in about 9 days, and there's two sides of people at the moment. There's the players that want to pre-order the game, and there's the players that don't want to pre-order the game. And I didn't really know where I was standing until I actually pre-ordered the damn game myself. I swore to my friends I'm not gonna pre-order it this time, I'm gonna wait for the game to come out, and if it's gonna have a smooth and not a rocky launch, maybe I'm gonna buy it, and if even the price drops because the game sucks so much, it's a better idea to buy it, but a bad idea in itself if the game actually sucks. But I don't really think that. I don't really know anything about Hardline until it actually gets released. So going back in time, thinking about Battlefield from the DICE era, when Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4 came out, even Battlefield 4's DLCs were a little bit rocky in my opinion. So Battlefield has pretty much always, that I remembered, had rocky launches. Like, going back to Battlefield 3, when it got out, it was buggy as hell. Like, people had modem issues. Like, what's that? Like, if you had a certain modem, you couldn't just play the game itself. I'm not even sure, but I think the game still has that problem. Like, if you have a weird modem or something like that, like a router that this game doesn't understand, it's not gonna let you in. You're not gonna have a good time. You're not gonna play at all. So, what's up with that? Then there's the guns that are unbalanced, overpowered weapons, guns that don't make any sense why they are even here. There were just things that broke the game entirely, like from the code of the game to the basics of the game that just doesn't make any sense, or it just shouldn't be there at all. And me and my friends really thought for a long time that, for example, jets are something that shouldn't be in a Battlefield game at itself. But that's not a release thing. That's more of how the game was actually designed, how the game was designed to work. So jets obviously were something that were thought that they actually were staying in Battlefield games. But for example, bugs, for example, when I got Battlefield 4, the game lagged really hard on me. I couldn't go for pretty much every server experience was horrible. I had to do massive studies on the internet how to get the game to work even in barely 60 FPS, and now it's working great. I'm getting like 200 FPS, 140 FPS in certain maps with certain graphical settings, but the game still looks great. And past that, there has still been a lot of issues with the game. With Battlefield 4, for example, when Naval Strike, the DLC, came out, it was a rocky launch to console, throughout the console universe. They actually had to push it back on PC update, and when it came out, it was just horrendous. It didn't work at all. For me, example, the maps looked great. The new weapons, okay, I guess, but the game itself just didn't work. And just a while back ago, they implemented a new patch, like I think it was in December or something, when the big patch came out. Like, you got reticle thingies, you can actually change the colors of your sights and everything like that. They implemented new features like those. Those are amazing. I like that. There's like no problems with that whatsoever. When you figure out new stuff that actually works, nobody has a problem with it. But the problem is that when the code of your game, when the basics of your games are broken in the release, what are we gonna remember in the past future when we play the game again? So now that Hardline is going to get released, what are the first impressions people are gonna get? Because thinking about DICE in the general, because it's gonna be Visceral this time who's gonna actually release the game. Actually, they're making the game. I think it's EA who's gonna release the game as a publisher, blah blah blah. So what kind of faith do I have on Visceral to bring a real solid game that I'm gonna play for, like, for example, the next year? So I don't know. I really don't know what to expect. If we go to the Battlefield route, it's either going to go in two ways. For example, the Battlefield 3 route, when the bugs were pretty much sorted out, the game in itself was amazing. For me, it was fun. I had my times and moments when I wanted to pull my hair out. I even made videos about that, but for the greatness of the time, the game was just fucking unbelievably amazing for me. It wasn't great when we talk about the gaming aspect of the game. Like, there was guns that should had had better balance, tanks that should have had better balance. In my opinion, Jet shouldn't be in a game like that at all, like some of the Moon Chopper shit, and there was just gameplay issues, like map size issues, and some of the logic in the maps, like, but they weren't like real big problems. Like a lot of those things you could actually sort out with server settings, server rules, or some like little things like that, like with gentleman rules, pretty much. But in Battlefield, if we go to the Battlefield route, you didn't have gentleman rules. You didn't have server fixes where they actually could fix the game, because the game was just basically broken for a year and passed on. And I used to love Battlefield 4. I used to overhype the shit out of Battlefield 4. I used to protect Battlefield 4, and I still do to a degree, as it is one of the best FPS games in general, thinking about the aspect that it has a lot of things in it. But when we go to how the game actually works, at the end of the day, I really hate Battlefield 4. Like, I have massive issues with Battlefield 4. And as the DLCs as well talking about, like, they bring new guns that have to be better than the old guns. Not a great concept to have. Like, a game like this doesn't need so many guns, in my opinion. It's just my opinion, don't kill me, please. But yeah, like I was talking about my friend, like PDVs, pretty much PDWs, personal defense weapons in this game doesn't have a place anymore. An engineer, a whole entire class, doesn't have a place in this game anymore. Like, if you take away, I wouldn't even go as far as saying choppers. I would just say jets. The game doesn't have a place for engineers anymore. So aside for fixing tanks. Yeah, that's what I was supposed to say. Aside from fixing tanks, an engineer in this game doesn't have a place. Like, every other class, like there's 2 classes that can effectively kill vehicles without any problems, just because the game mechanics are busted up pretty much. And those are the support and the recon, because they have C4. Like, who wouldn't want to take out a tank with a C4? So, going on, as I was saying, how the Battlefield Hardline launch is gonna be, that's my problem. So if it's gonna take the Battlefield 3 route, it's gonna be a little bit rocky first, and it's gonna get fixed, nerfed to a point that it's gonna have a few bugs there and here, but it's not gonna affect a lot of people. It's not gonna make people angry as much as Battlefield 4 had made. And, by the way, because the game has new game modes, it might even have things that needs to be balanced out a little bit. But those are okay, it's fine if they take that route. But if they take the Battlefield 4 route, where they don't actually learn from their mistakes, they pretty much bring out the same package of garbage that we've been playing for the past year, in my opinion, we're gonna have a big problem there, because in the next Battlefield game that's gonna get released, for sure, I am not gonna touch that with a long fucking stick. Because it is going to stink really hard. Those are my opinions. I hope I'm gonna see you when Battlefield Hardlines is gonna be released. I'm gonna make a lot of videos then. And I just hope you guys really check out my channel again. I've been away for a long time. Sorry for that. So, pretty much thank you for watching. I love you guys. My name is Donut, and bye bye.